Ladies and gentlemen, we had good talks with the Minister for Foreign Affairs of the plurinational state of Bolivia, Celina Sosa and Luanda. We've met well. Not long ago in February, they participated in activities within the framework. We met the G20 Foreign Ministers Council in Rio de Janeiro and on the sidelines of these events. We reaffirm our line of strengthening comprehensive interaction, coordinating our actions in the international arena, and promoting the development of bilateral cooperation. Bolivia is one of our priority, reliable and promising partners in Latin America and the Caribbean. We note that bilateral relations have recently increased significantly in almost all areas, and it is developing steadily, and we have made an inventory of our bilateral cooperation and outlined it. Further steps, noting positive developments in various areas and highlighting issues requiring further attention. No, we have close contacts at the highest level, and the interparliamentary links between various ministries and departments have been strengthened. We are interested in strengthening our partnership and taking it to a whole new level. To this end, we agree to expedite the preparation of a series of intergovernmental documents in various fields. We have a common interest in expanding and diversifying bilateral trade in the implementation of very promising investment projects. In this regard, of course, we have reached an agreement. More active use of the potential of the Russian-Bolivian Intergovernmental Committee for Economic and Trade Cooperation, an important opportunity to expand loans. There are few joint activities in the field of energy. Gazprom is implementing joint development with Bolivian state oil and gas company PFB, the development of oil fields in the Ipati block. And Rosatom is implementing a flagship construction project in Bolivia, which is unique to all Latinos in Latin America. El Alto Nuclear Research and Technology Center. We are, of course, quality. Of course, a promising direction. We consider the development and industrial development of Bolivia. Lithium deposits have been talked about today, about what additional steps need to be taken to find rice. A vision that is in the interests of our two countries and reflects the balance of these interests, including the initiatives that the Libyan side has put forward. She has been in the fields of energy and agricultural supply. We have a very good one. In the field of educational exchanges, we are increasing the number of scholarships provided to Bolivia every year for its citizens to receive education at Russian universities. We talked about establishing humanitarian and sports ties and agreed to promote direct contacts between the business community. Bolivia plans to compete in the future Olympics in Kazan a few months ago. Sending athletes to the BRICS Games in Kazan in July this year. Well, we'll wait for Bolivian athletes. The World Friendship Games will be held in Moscow and Yekaterinburg this fall. And Brazilian-Bolivian. Our friends are invited to participate in the upcoming Intervision International Song Contest in Russia. Well, I would like to point out that at this year's Venice Biennale, the Russian pavilion was provided to our Latin American friends under Bolivia's coordinating role. And how? We see from the report from Venice. The exhibition is very popular, successfully attracted many viewers to speak on topical stories on regional and global agendas. We have always been like-minded in the democratization of international relations, and the United Nations plays a central coordinating role, provided that we all do, firm and sacred. We are united in observing all the principles of the Charter of the United Nations, their interrelationship and their integrity, and we must cooperate on the basis of this in order to find solutions to international crises and conflicts. We coordinate our actions in world affairs, including as members of Russia and Bolivia, as members of the group of Friends of the Charter of the United Nations. We agree that our countries, as multi-ethnic countries with rich cultural and traditional diversity, they can do a lot to strengthen world peace and stability in the name of the Middle East, dialogue and harmony among civilizations. We support Bolivia's active role in the ongoing process in Latin America and the Caribbean. We support the consolidation of regional integration processes, including on the basis of authoritative platforms such as the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States, CELAC. We welcome the recent strengthening of this structure. We hope to resume in the near future. Regular ministerial meetings between Russia and Portrait of CEVAC and between Russia and other regional multilateral structures. Of course, we are in favor of an early solution to regional problems, including the long-standing need to put an immediate end to the illegal trade, economic and financial embargo against Cuba. We stand with Bolivia and oppose attempts by some external forces to interfere in the internal affairs of Latin American countries, especially Venezuela and Nicaragua, and talk about our interaction within the framework of the United Nations. We thank Bolivia for its consistent support for our initiatives, for co-sponsoring most of the draft resolutions submitted by Russia, for its balanced and principled position on the causes of the situation in Ukraine, and for the actions taken by the Russian Federation in this regard to achieve justice. From the perspective of security interests and the rights of all those. For people living in our common space, the negotiations have been very useful. The minister will also meet with representatives of other departments of our country, including Rosatom and the Ministry of Economy. We believe that after this visit, our bilateral agenda will be revised. It will move forward actively, and we will have every reason to report to our President. Thank you. We are well aware of the attitude of our Bolivian friends, like the vast majority of other countries in the global South and East, towards the organization of the North Atlantic Alliance, and we know firsthand what this is. This is what the aggressive group used to say. But you know, others will not find a more precise definition today. We hope that after the arrival of NATO relations, in everyone's opinion, universal prosperity, when the insurmountable ideological contradictions disappear, everyone begins to declare universal human values, universal economic space, and security space. When was the Russian Council, NATO, when was it? promises, and when our partners beat themselves in the chest that NATO will not expand first. Then when it began to expand, there would be no combat forces and armed forces permanently in the new territory. Many promises proved to be lies, and NATO was actually trying to be a non-defensive alliance. How they convince everyone that this is an alliance solely for the defense of the territory of member countries. That's a lie too. Because at the same time, NATO Secretary General Stoltenberg said, yes, we are loyal to the treaty that obliges us to defend our common space, but we cannot do so now until we enter the so-called Indo-Pacific region. There, block structures have been created to reproduce NATO psychology. NATO's mentality is talking about infiltrating NATO infrastructure, and NATO and Japan announced an agreement there. Now, the Asia-Pacific region has little need to go to Latin America, in my opinion, the vast majority of countries. Most regions of the global south understand the dangers involved and understand that funds will be drawn from them for the benefit of NATO members. They will use, and probably right, those who, instead of playing this geopolitical game, NATO sees it as a zero-sum game. Instead, it is better to do housework and provide normal education, including for its citizens,